Have you ever stopped to think what the sugar in your coffee could possibly have in common with, say, the paper in a book, or even the cotton in your t-shirt? I know, it sounds kind of crazy, but they are all connected by the same tiny but super powerful building blocks. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on the secret chemistry of sugars and see how they build our entire world, from the sweetest treats to the tallest trees. Let's dive in.
So let's just lay it out there. Table sugar, milk, and paper. One's for sweetness, one's a drink, and the other, you read it. The connection feels like it's just not there, right? Well, believe it or not, it all comes down to how nature is this master architect, using the same simple ingredient, sugar, to build completely different things.
The whole secret, the key to this entire puzzle, lies in one very special connection. You can think of it like a chemical handshake that lets these tiny sugar molecules link up and create, well, everything from simple sweets to massive complex structures. And that handshake has a name, the glycosidic bond. It's basically molecular superglue. Its whole job is to connect single sugar units, the fancy name for those is monosaccharides, into pairs, long chains, and these huge intricate structures. Honestly, this one bond is the key to understanding everything else we're about to talk about. So, how does this handshake even happen? It's actually a really simple two-step dance. First, two sugar units, our little building blocks, line up next to each other. Then, they link together. And as they form that strong glycosidic bond, a single tiny molecule of water gets released. That's it. It's a process called dehydration synthesis, and it's responsible for building all the carbohydrates we know and love. All right, now that we have our special handshake, let's see what happens when we use it to connect just two of these sugar units. This simple pairing creates some of the most familiar molecules in our day-to-day lives. And that pairing creates what's called a disaccharide. The name gives it away, right? Di means two, and saccharide means sugar. It's literally just two sugars joined together. These are the simple, sweet molecules that we find in our food all the time. You know, the most famous example is just plain old table sugar. Its scientific name is sucrose, and it's just a pair of two different simple sugars. You've got glucose, which is our body's main fuel, and fructose, which is the sugar you find in fruit. That specific 1-2 combo is what gives table sugar that classic sweet taste. Then you've got lactose. That's the sugar in milk. It's also a pair, but this time it's glucose linked up with another simple sugar called galactose. See, the principle is exactly the same. Two sugars joined together, but swapping out that one building block completely changes its properties. And this comparison really shows you how tiny little changes at the molecular level can have these huge real-world impacts. Both sucrose and lactose are simple pairs, but just swapping fructose for galactose is the difference between a sweetener used all over the world and a sugar that a lot of people can't even digest, which leads to lactose intolerance. It all just comes down to whether our bodies have the right key to unlock that specific bond. Okay, so linking two sugars together gives us sweetness. Got it. But what happens when we don't stop there? What if we create massive chains of hundreds or even thousands of them? Well, that's when you go from a quick, sweet treat to a powerhouse of stored energy. And this is where we get polysaccharides. Again, poly just means many. These things are gigantic molecules, kind of like long beaded necklaces made of sugar, all connected by that same glycosidic bond we talked about. Their job isn't to be sweet, it's to act as a biological battery, storing enormous amounts of energy for later. The polysaccharide you probably know best is starch. It's how plants like potatoes, wheat, and rice store all their energy. So when we eat these foods, our digestive system just goes in and snips those bonds, releasing all that glucose for a really quick and powerful energy boost. Now, we animals have our own version of starch, and it's called glycogen. You can think of it as our body's personal rechargeable battery pack. We store these super branched chains of glucose in our muscles and our liver, ready to go instantly when we need a burst of energy for a workout or, any tough activity. So starch and glycogen are doing the same job, storing energy. The real difference is where they come from and how they're built. Starch is plant fuel. Glycogen is animal fuel. And check this out. Glycogen's highly branched structure gives our bodies way more places to attack and break it down, which means we get our energy much, much faster. Perfect for a creature that's always on the move. So far, we've only seen sugars used for energy. But polysaccharides have this whole other job, a completely different role. By just changing the angle of that chemical handshake, nature created one of the toughest and most abundant building materials on the entire planet. And that material is cellulose. Get this.
It's the most abundant organic compound on Earth. It's the literal backbone of the entire plant kingdom. The wood in trees, the paper in your books, the cotton in your clothes, yep, it's all cellulose. And just like starch, it's a long chain of glucose, but its purpose isn't energy. Its purpose is to build.
Okay, so let's think back to starch for a second. Its chemical structure is all coiled and branched up. That makes it super easy for our enzymes to get in there and snip off glucose molecules for energy. It's literally designed for easy access. Cellulose, on the other hand, is built for strength. Its chains are straight, and they stack together to form these incredibly strong fibers, almost like tightly woven ropes. This structure isn't meant to be broken. It's designed for maximum durability. It's the framework that lets plants stand up tall. And here's the part that is just incredible. Starch and cellulose, they're both made of the exact same thing, long chains of glucose. So why can we get energy from a potato but not from a tree branch? The answer is almost too simple. The only difference is the way that glycosidic bond is oriented. Our bodies have the enzyme key to unlock the bonds in starch, but we just don't have the key for cellulose. A tiny little flip in a single chemical bond is the entire difference between food and building material. Wild, right? So, as we've seen, this one simple chemical connection, the glycosidic bond, is pretty much the master architect of this huge world of molecules. Understanding how it links sugars together is really the key to understanding biology itself. So let's just do a quick recap of the key players we've met. This chart kind of lays it all out for us. You've got your simple pairs, the disaccharides like sucrose and lactose that give us sweetness. Then when you build long chains, you get polysaccharides. Starch and glycogen are the coiled-up, easy-to-access chains used for energy storage in plants and animals. And then, by just changing that bond to create straight, rigid chains, you get cellulose, nature's ultimate building material. It all starts with glucose, but the way you connect it changes everything. And that brings us to a really fascinating final thought. Cellulose is literally everywhere, in grass, in wood, in all kinds of farming waste. It represents this massive, untapped ocean of energy, all locked away by a bond our bodies just can't break. But imagine, what if we could develop technologies to unlock it efficiently? Finding the key to cellulose could completely revolutionize sustainable fuels and materials, all by solving a simple chemical puzzle that nature figured out ages ago.